let me get right over to my former de facto producer, Dielawn, out of California. Dylan, good to hear from you, man. How are you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Do you go by Dylan or Dielawn or both? Either or?
Well, I still like Dielawn. I'm still kind of salty. The only reason I had to stop using that nickname, James, was because white people have a hard time pronouncing it. That's the only. Black people love it.
Yeah.
But then it's frustrating because Dylan is the other way around. Black people have a hard time pronouncing Dylan.
True.
It just doesn't come out of their mouth.
All right. Well, Dielawn it is. That's how I became new.
Yeah.
To know you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fresh name. I like it. But I knew you were going to talk about the Tim Pool thing last night.
Nice.
And over on Cozy TV, I called into Baked Alaska's show last night, and everyone was delusionally spinning this just because, like, anything Kanye West does, they want to, like, justify saying it was awesome. And no, it wasn't awesome. It was bad. I was so disappointed.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
we finally.
You like good conversations and confrontation and good arguments, and this could have been so awesome. As I consider what the prior caller said, that Milo's a great conversationalist. Nick Fuentes is good at interviewing, and Kanye speaks simply in his mind, and it's interesting. And those guys are. Tim Pool, being a liberal, he's pretty fair-minded. So,
well, he's a centrist.
Yeah,
James. He's not. He's like a radical centrist.
Yeah, I mean, and Luke, that guy Luke from We Are Change, those are like nice enough guys. It would be an interesting conversation.
Well, okay, so on Cozy TV, every single person is saying Tim Pool was asking for it. He deserved it. He was being a dick. He was being so
keep it clean,
rude,
buddy.
and I didn't know that was one of the swears you can't say.
It's okay.
He was. They were all saying he was like, having attitude and being rude and unprofessional. I was like, I didn't see that. Did you?
No, he was being his normal self. It was, a person who is. You can see that he's being too fair-minded and kind of straw-manning. These guys with the I don't lump everybody together, but and they don't lump everybody together either. So I could see how a person who gets annoyed would be annoyed. Like I could see how
it wasn't anywhere near to the point where someone should have walked off.
Right.
Not even what I was like. What are you guys talking about? And what I realized is like. Whatever Kanye West did, just because Kanye West did it on Tim Pool's podcast, they're all going to say it's awesome no matter what it was.
I think you might be right about that. They're on his side, especially because he's talking about the Jews, and people want the Jews talked about. And
well, that is awesome. But I mean, like his behavior, walking off.
Right.
Like everybody's saying it was so epic and awesome. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah, he's impulsive. And that impulsiveness can hurt him if he's not wise in what he does.
Well, I don't know. I think next time you got Milo. By the way, Milo's not Jewish. Actually, he I don't know. He came out and gave his DNA results, and he said his mom lied to him about being Jewish. But anyway, you got two white guys there. Maybe next time they need to do a little more, corralling and keeping the low impulse control in check there. You know, I think that's obviously what was going on.
Yeah, at one point, those of you who didn't see it, after he walked off, after Kanye West, the visionary, billionaire, walked off, Milo's all, Mama, I'm going to go check on him, make sure he's okay. Like he's not a grown man who's going to be fine.
Oh, I thought they all left immediately with him.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, he did leave pretty quickly, and I think that Nick left without saying a word. But Milo is all, I'm going to go check on him. And so Tim Pool's all, yeah, you do that. I'll do whatever you want. I'm going to talk with Luke. And so they just...
Oh, so Milo didn't leave until... And then he...
It was like within a minute. It was like within a minute of...
Well,
Kanye
it was
leaving.
it was pathetic. It was just crushing. Like, I almost wish it never had teased me in the first place. Like, just I wish I'd never even thought that Nick Fuentes was good. And everybody's all excited about talking about Kanye. Yay on Tim Pool. Yay on Tim Pool. Well, I was much more excited about Nick Fuentes being on Tim Pool.
Right, because that had been a long time coming, and that opportunity was wasted. Because, well, Nick is a loyal guy, you know, and so he's there only because of Kanye, and so I don't really blame Nick for leaving once Kanye left, because he's deferring. He is Kanye's guest, really, and so he's deferring to the guy that he was with.
He's miraculously got himself a spot on like the most famous musician in the world's team. So you know, but I would have. If I were him, I would have gone out and given Kanye a pep talk. I guarantee, James, if I was there and I went out and Kanye, I could have talked him into coming back in.
I bet that's true. You would have used because you're Jewish yourself, right? You use your cajoling verbal IQ, verbal IQ.
Oh, God.
I think you could have gotten him back, because I've seen you work magic getting guests on my show and others. And yeah, you could have, and that would have been right.
I think Nick could have done it too, but everybody. So why do you think that everybody on Cozy TV, all the super chats? I called into Baked Alaska, and I was totally going like against the grain, and people were like eating me in the freaking comments, and everybody just wanted to insist that it was so awesome and epic.
You know, because
that he like blew this opportunity.
I think everybody, no matter where you are, including even on Cozy.tv, which JLP streams there. Shout out to Cozy.tv. Everybody is a cult follower of some sort. And so I've seen when Jesse appeared to disagree with Nick at one point, a bunch of the Groypers came in and posted in the comments, cringe, cringe, cringe. And so I think they just get all excited and become part of a group. They have this group mentality, and they think of Kanye as being brilliant, which he is in a lot of ways. And Trump too. They're brilliant. They do stuff that I wouldn't do or think to do, and yet it turns out in the end to work for them in many cases. And I'm like, oh, okay, there is some truth to that. And so these guys don't really know what the future holds or how this will turn out. And so they jump to the conclusion that it was right, and anybody who disagrees with it is a dumb normie who doesn't think for himself. Meanwhile, they're not thinking for themselves either.
Yeah, my thing is, Kanye West literally could have done anything on that podcast, and all these people would be insisting that it was that it was awesome and an own. Man, it's disappointing that even in the DR, where we're supposed to be like thinking for ourselves and independent thinkers, that we even have that kind of group think.
Yeah.
Not thinking for ourselves, even in the dissident right. Wow, how discouraging.
Yeah. That's why this thing about waking up, the red pill, the woke on the JQ type stuff, you're not actually awake until you've overcome that emotion, that anger, that pride, because with that emotion, you don't see clearly. And that's why I like Jesse's thing about know for yourself. Don't just believe people, and don't just really know that you know and know what you don't know.
Well, but does that include Jesse Lee? What if you applied that to Jesse Lee Peterson?
He would love that, because, and I think that's what we all should do too, because there are many people who are cult followers of Jesse, because cult follower is the follower himself's fault. The follower mindset will take stuff that Jesse says, or that Obama says, or that Kanye says, and they'll thump people over the head with it, thinking that they know, and they're not even living it themselves. And so, yes, we should apply it to Jesse too.
See, the thing is, you're not as upset about this as I am, but one of my biggest things is, like, I've seen over the last few years, I've seen the dissident right, as it were, completely just kind of shut out of the mainstream conversation.
Yeah.
With the censorship. And this was like a rare, miraculous opportunity where we just got like a full-on shot at coming like back inside to having a seat at the table.
Yep.
And then I'm just imagining through the eyes of everyone else watching, other than, Cozy TV subscribers, everyone else watching, it's like, oh, wow, Nick Fuentes, he's like a far-right guy. Oh, he was only on for 10 minutes. Yep. Oh, no wonder, of course. He's banned from YouTube, and of course he was only on here for 10 minutes. It's like he doesn't belong here. That's what I was really upset. And I hate that. I don't want that. That sucks. That's the, you know what I'm saying?
I do. I think you should be less into getting the results in life and in the world that you want. You know what I mean?
I'm fighting. I'm wanting for what's right to be in the conversation.
I would love that too. So you be part of the what's right, and don't be disappointed when stuff outside of you doesn't go the way that you would want it to go.
What do you think of Ron DeSantis?
He's okay. I'm not for him right now. I mean, I like what he's doing, I guess, in Florida somewhat. Mixed review, just like with Trump. There's good and bad things that he's done. But I think he's kind of phony because all the phony people are for him. I think even the Lincoln Project is for him. Is it the Lincoln Project? The anti-Trump, the never Trumpers? I think they're for him.
Yeah, good answer.
So right now, it may be an example of me not thinking for myself, but I look at the people who are supporting him, and it makes me want to go the other way. And I'm still for Trump.
That is thinking for yourself, because most people don't bother to think that, and it's a pretty reliable metric.
At least you should withhold judgment and be like, I'm not going along with them. I'm not necessarily going to go the opposite direction, but I'm not going to go along with them. I think it can be a mistake to go the opposite direction every single time. Because there are people who the earth is flat because everybody thinks it's round.
No. I'm just saying it's a pretty reliable indicator. It's not everything. But
for sure.
I've actually wanted to ask you this for a long time. I've always forgot.
Okay.
So what you just said, all the phony people are for Ron DeSantis, and you think that's a pretty good indicator, which I agree that like something's not right here. Well, then what would you say about the fact that like people, all the never Trumpers in 2016, Ben Shapiro and Dennis Prager, oh God, and all those types of people, they, by 2018, 2019, 2020, they were like the biggest Trump people. So how do you explain that?
That was when Trump was at his weakest, perhaps, because he had all these people who were pretending to be his friends in his group, undermining him. So I saw it as a big bandwagon of Trump because he won, so they had to join him, you know? And they were doing stuff. He was doing stuff that they did appreciate. Like he was all very pro-Israel, and he was much more moderate than they expected, much more reasonable.
Right.
So,
reasonable for them.
Right. Yeah. But he is truly a fairly quite reasonable person. And
I'm surprised to hear you say that, because I remember when I used to work there 2 years ago, I remember you like starting yelling at me because I was getting too down on Trump. Do you remember that?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Baseball there. You got mad at me one day. You literally started yelling. You're like, I don't like you alt-righters talking that stuff about Trump. And I was like, whoa. I forget what it was exactly about, because people washed their hands of Trump too quickly, I think. Because they expected him to be agreeing with them because he sounded like them, you know? And so they assumed that this liberal boomer from New York all of a sudden was going to be this white nationalist, you know? Well, because he kind of gave that impression, you know.
That's how KT from DC felt about the Second Amendment and about the vaccine stuff that Trump was pushing, and that Trump wasn't as hard on the for the Second Amendment as he is. So they assumed that Trump was going to be like them. When I think that, as Jesse says, you should keep a space between you and anybody that you appreciate, so that you don't turn on the person when they do something that you disagree with. You still see them clearly, appreciate what you like about them, and disagree with them where you don't, but you never turn on the person. So
interesting.
You know what? I have a question. What is the deal with those three who were on the Timcast yesterday? Kanye, he's running for president. So is it true that Milo is his campaign manager, and is Nick on his team or something like that? His campaign team? Is that what's happening, or is that just an assumption?
Yeah, and that's, I think, why he felt that he had to just, leave immediately. That's very unlike Nick. I've never, ever seen him do something like that, leave with no explanation whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, I think that's I'm really excited. I do want to say Kanye West, he is doing God's work. I'm not taking anything away from him, and I've been overjoyed. I don't use that word very often. The last month of him bringing up these topics that need to be said, and you saw the Dave Chappelle stand-up monologue, right? Oh yeah, all this stuff. It's honestly the most exciting thing I think since 2016, Trump first running. But last night was that was a total L.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still very. I just love that he's not backing down.
Yeah.
About the JQ.
Nice. Yeah, I liked how he made a statement that I appreciated, that he said, God is taking different things away from me so that I just have to rely on him. He said something to that effect, like he's taking his family, he's taking his money, taking this and that. Yeah,
when he was on Piers Morgan, and he was like, I think you should apologize. You should apologize. And he was like, here's a list of things that need to happen before I apologize.
Yeah.
Freaking great.
Well, I appreciate it, Dielawn. Good to hear from you. Take care, man.
All right, bye.